Fellow YouTubers, how you doing? Lindsay here. So this is kind of another one of those behind the scenes videos for the history of Cincinnati. The video series I'm going to do that I haven't decided what to call it yet. I'm open if anybody has any recommendations. I thought about calling it Cincinnati Origins. Anyway, yes, I'm recording this on my phone. And no, this is not, I had somebody ask me, this is not an app I'm using. It's part of the operating system software that comes with the Samsung S22 Ultra that I have, which is my new default video studio now. That's my primary means of bringing information and videos to you guys, and it has a lot of neat tools, and this is one of them. So anyway, so I want to talk about some of the places and people involved in the early establishment of Cincinnati and some of the politics and fighting that went on in this area in the first 50 years, maybe. So there were three main places that were settlement points along the Ohio River here in Cincinnati. Columbia was first, I believe, Columbia Tusculum, Los Santaville, which would later be renamed to Cincinnati, and North Bend. Now, I've done videos in all of these places. I've been to Columbia Tusculum. I've showed you Pioneer Graveyard, where some of the graves of some of those early settlers are located. Obviously, I've been all over Cincinnati, and I've done videos out in North Bend as well. There's a couple of very important historical sites out there. And this was all originally referred to as the Northwest Territory. So Cincinnati was settled beginning in late 1788, and in 1789 Fort Washington was established because of all the the fear of Native American attack. And in the late 1700s, during this time was the very end of the conflicts with the Native Americans, and two of the names associated with that I'll be talking about probably in more detail, and that's William Henry Harrison, who is from Cincinnati. His tomb is here. It's out in North Bend. I've been there a couple of times, done I got some drone footage out there actually. And he was originally what was referred to back then as an Indian fighter, and he was the so-called, one of his nicknames was the hero of Tippecanoe. And yeah, that was one of his claims to fame, was he was part of the military force that ultimately defeated the Native Americans in that battle for who was going to keep this part of Ohio. So we'll talk more about him, and then also on the other side of the coin was Tecumseh and his alliance of Native American tribes that were fighting to keep their native lands, which they had been relegated at one point north of the Ohio River, and then by the time that the settlers arrived, they had been pushed even further out into Indiana. And there were some Native American settlements in Ohio, and I want to do a video about those to tell you where some of those, not all of those, but where some of those are, or were anyway. So those are some of the names that are associated with this. I'm not going to go too much, guys, into this early prehistory. I have a video I have already produced about the mound builders. That'll be the first or second video in the series. And I think my pattern is going to be, I'm going to talk about Native Americans, and we're going to talk about the European settlers, the Americans, and we're going to talk about, I'll do like every other video. That way we can, I want to tell both sides of the story as to what was going on and what happened in those early years of the establishment of Cincinnati. There's also there's an interesting story about an attack that took place out at Fort Coleraine. And I tried to go out there once, and I actually did get some video of that old graveyard out there. It's out in the middle of a cornfield, oddly enough. So if you want to know more about Cincinnati history and you're new to this, this is a really great resource here on Wikipedia. History of Cincinnati. Fort Washington was built later because everybody feared there were several Native American tribes, and we were still in fighting with the Native Americans. I say we. I don't know if I do have Native American ancestry, and maybe I'll do a video on that. What little I know about it. It's a historical dead end in my family tree, because my Native American ancestor was very secretive and did not talk about it. And so as a result, we don't know anything. And my DNA tests have not helped me any at all. That part of my DNA, I didn't receive actual DNA for. It was too far back, and it's been lost in my genetic inheritance. So, anyway. So this is just all stuff I want to talk to you guys about. And here on this History of Cincinnati is an excellent resource if you want to do your own research. It's a really good jumping board. And you know, guys, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of any Wikipedia page, and this is a long one, there's sources. And these sources is what you're really looking for. If you're doing research, Wikipedia is not a good source. But this stuff down here, this is good sources. And they'll give you books, and they'll give you articles, and they'll give you online stuff. Like, here's more about Filson, the Filson Historical Society. I'll be clicking on some of these links, and I'll be looking into some of this stuff as my time permits, because as I've said before, I don't have a lot of time. Guys, thanks for watching this video. It's been another behind the scenes video. Just some of the thoughts, some of the things I'm thinking. Appreciate it. Everybody enjoy the rest of your week. Keep fighting a good fight, and I'll see you in the next video.